Welcome to the Inc. Productivity Tip of the Day. Today's tip. The one thing I tell entrepreneurs about great leadership. An expert opinion by Jerry Colonna, co-founder and CEO, Reboot. When I first formulated the question, how have you been complicit in creating the conditions you say you don't want? I knew exactly what it meant. However, throughout the years, my signature question, which I ask every client I work with, has moved away from its original intent. The question was always meant to be an invitation to lifelong curiosity, and not one that would bring you to a place of shame or guilt. Remember, you are not responsible for everything that has happened to you. Instead of dwelling on mistakes, consider this question as a tool to develop the moral courage to look inward without self-accusation. This is not about blame, but about empowerment through self-reflection. Authentic leadership requires curiosity. I often tell my clients to ask themselves the following questions. How have you contributed to the circumstances you say you want to change? Without falling into feelings of guilt, shame, or blaming yourself for everything that has happened to you. How can you look inward through thoughtful inquiry rather than harsh inquisition? How can you become a better business person, entrepreneur, and leader by recognizing the patterns you repeat and actively working to change them? Recognizing patterns. Everyone has their own patterns. As psychologist Carl Jung is often quoted as saying, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." To become a better leader, it's important to pay attention to these patterns and to make the unconscious conscious. Consider the stories you tell yourself. Are they truly authentic? How do these stories influence the changes you want to make? Typically, my clients find it easy to identify these stories and the recurring patterns they wish to avoid. To turn inward and observe the repeated patterns takes courage, not only to turn these questions inward, but to hold them with discernment and not criticism. When people lead with clarity and integrity from a place of accurate observation, and not one of reaction or fear, others notice. But more importantly, you yourself will see. To stand tall in knowing that you are constantly working toward creating conditions you do want, and not those you'd rather avoid, is to lead with courage. There are signs of leaders who have done the work, those who have noticed the patterns and stopped the cycles. Leaders who admit mistakes instead of blaming others or creating excuses. Leaders who speak up when everyone else is silent. The ones who name the uncomfortable truth in a room where others are afraid to speak, or who asks the questions others want to know the answer to. Great leaders walk among us, often unnoticed. They are not the ones who make headlines, but they are the ones who shape the places where people love to work. Becoming this kind of leader requires clarity about your life, values, and purpose. It involves self-awareness, not flawlessness. It requires what I call radical self-inquiry and not self-inquisition. You are called to lead redemptively. This type of leadership tells the truth, holds steady, stays curious, and recognizes the patterns that lead to the conditions you don't want. Do this not with judgment for the sake of self-service, but with an analytical eye for the betterment of those we lead. This self-awareness is the key to enlightenment and informed leadership. That's all from Inc. for today. Be sure to check out Inc.com for more expert opinions from today's business and thought leaders. And come back tomorrow for another tip from Inc.